Hello, I'm Robert Barr. I'd like to recommend to you my course on reaching the lost. Jesus said that we should go out into all Judea, Samaria, and in all the world. Unfortunately, the church as a whole has lost its vision of carrying out that. I'd like to illustrate what that would look like in the church today. Jesus calls us to be his witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea, and Samaria, and the ends of the world, and to teach them everything that he has taught them. Jerusalem is the area around us. Too often, the church thinks of missions as sending someone overseas to convert the heathen and neglect the area around them. They think people know where the church is and will come if they want to. But the vast majority of people today have had no contact with the church and see no reason to attend. While the church used to be the center of the community, it has increasingly been relegated to the edge. The church needs to become more centered on reaching out to the community. The early church actively ministered to those around them, and as a result, many were attracted to the church. However, the church has become increasingly program-centered, relying on preaching and programs to teach members, while not ministering to their needs. Pastors, once trained to be shepherds as well as preachers, no longer get training in ministering to their people and are unable to train their people to minister to others. Christians learn to walk with Christ by seeing others walk the walk and ministering to others, just as children learn by observing their parents and practicing their roles as adults. The church needs to become more people-oriented, engaging their people in the ministry and reaching out to the lost. Down through the years, Christians have actively engaged in the community, but the church has increasingly withdrawn from the community. Government agencies have taken over a lot of the social services which provided bridges to those outside the church. In addition, the church has allowed society to corrupt its relationships with the government. Jesus told us that we owe certain things to God and certain things to the government because they control different realms. The government is to keep the peace and protect its citizens, while the church should provide a moral guidance to its members and its government. As a result, our founding fathers limited government to prevent it from intruding on the church's realm. However, the church has not been fulfilling its role and has allowed the government to increasingly control the moral realm. Jesus told them to go into Samaria as well. The Jews refused to have any contact with the Samaritans, but Jesus reached out to them and included them in his ministry. There are groups today that we've designated off limits because we don't want to deal with them, whether because of race or creed or things they do. But Jesus wants to reach them as much as any others. If the church is to fulfill its mission, it needs to reach out to them the same as any others. Jesus wants us to go into all the world, but not to be corrupted by it. Therefore, we have to know and understand what we believe. The culture has been very vocal in promoting its views and suppressing debate, while many churches today have done a poor job of teaching their members the faith and enabling them to defend it. As a result, many have fallen for the deceits of the prevailing culture. While they go through the motions of church membership, they support the prevailing culture. In addition, the church needs to focus on training their people to minister to others and actively developing opportunities. Fortunately, I've been able to get the training and experience needed to train pastors and church leaders in ministry. My experience with polio gave me an understanding of what it means to be in pain and suffering, which has enabled me to minister to those who are sick and elderly. In addition, I experienced what it meant to be poor and an outcast, and have been able to minister to those who are poor and outcast. Though I got very little education in my early years, I was able to go and complete high school, college, and even graduate school. Though I had few resources of my own, God provided what I needed. I was able to get my college degree in sociology, which taught me a great deal about the needs of my members and how to minister to them. I also got a good training in theology from seminary. But it was my training in sociology that enabled me to apply that theology to the everyday lives of my people. Unfortunately, few ministers today get training in sociology. They often receive training in English, public speaking, and other pursuits. While those are helpful, they provide very little background to enable them to minister to their people. My experience in social work has helped me deal with real problems that members face every day from a biblical perspective. My experience teaching sociology at a college level has helped me understand the social forces that are impacting our world and forced me to defend the faith against the most determined atheists. It is not adequate to proclaim that God has spoken because they don't believe in God, so that argument is irrelevant. Christians must be ready to defend their faith in the real world. While atheists proclaim that people of faith are narrow-minded, it depends on your perspective. To the atheists, they have a very narrow view and see everything from their perspective. All they see is the road right in front of them, and it looks like all roads lead to the same place. However, they only see the beginning of the roads and that they lead in the right direction. A Christian that walks with God sees it from God's perspective. God sees the end from the beginning. If you go up in an airplane where you can see the end of the road, you'll see that all other roads curve off to other places. Only God's road leads to the destination. I hope you'll join me for the course. Thank you.